you for taking your time this afternoon and joining us for what is going to be an amazing event. I can't wait to take a deep dive into the guests that we have today. But before we do that, I want to introduce Logan with Mass Mutual. Logan and Matt are financial advisors, and I am really excited. I was actually just speaking with Logan offline about their offering, so I'm excited to hear more about that. Logan, feel free to turn your camera on and join us and tell us a little bit about what you do and who you guys are.
Absolutely. Hi, Tiffany. Thank you guys so much for having us today. We're really excited to be on. My name's Logan Ward, and I work, as Tiffany mentioned, with Mass Mutual. So I work with a team of certified financial planners, and my partner, Matt, is our managing director at the firm. So we're really excited. We're going to be doing a giveaway with you guys for a consulting fee for 1 hour. But a lot of people don't know or aren't familiar with financial planning. So I can give you a little bit more details on that. So what most people come to us for is the questions that really with young professionals and young people in the business, it's how do I get ahead? Am I doing the right strategies to get my business ahead? And what could I be doing maybe differently to have the overall best net benefit for myself or my business? So that's really questions that our clients come to us with and that we help answer through, unique and advanced strategies through planning. So we can do this in different categories. I think the most common are going to be retirement planning, tax strategy, which is really popular right now. People are filing for taxes right now through April. So a lot of questions on that. How to save money through when you're filing, how to find deductions, things like that. We also do some investment strategies. So how can I get ahead in the short term and the long term, and also be prepared for kind of these market fluctuations we've seen through COVID. You never know what you're going to expect in the next couple of years through the market. So making sure you've got a really good, diverse platform and assets. And then, we also do financial wellness for teams. So we go to people like Matt actually talks to Red Hat. So if you're familiar with Red Hat or work there, Matt is the person who does all of their financial wellness. So that's really what we do. We cover those categories. People come to us, and then we put together a strategic plan for the short term, midterm, and long term. We constantly stress that plan. We make sure your business or your personal finances are in a great position. They're protected, and they're growing at a really great rate. So, you feel comfortable and more at ease with your business or personal finances. So we're going to be offering an hour with Matt. He's been in the industry for about 20 years. We work together on a team. He is a registered investment advisor. So he is great to ask all of your questions to, guys. And I really will say he's like a tax guru. There's probably 80,000 tax codes. He honestly probably knows them all. So we're excited to be working with you guys and happy to answer any questions for you all.
Well, I need to know Matt if that's the case. I need to text her. Well,
absolutely. Yeah, I'll have to set you guys up. Yeah.
There we go. Well, no, you guys are giving something away today. That hour with Matt, is that right? And that's
yes. Oh, you're good. Yeah, that hour with Matt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very good. And that will be at the end of our session today. So at 1:00. Must be present to win. We will be giving away that 1 hour value with Matt, which obviously seems like an amazing opportunity. So I'm excited about that. And and Alyssa, do you mind just unmuting and telling us how people can put their name in the hat? How does that work?
Absolutely. So yeah, if anyone would like to be entered to win, just go ahead and pop a comment anywhere in the comment section or give us a thumbs up. Any interaction really with the post will enter you in to win that 1 hour consultation.
Great. Yeah. So please interact with the post. And then Alyssa's going to be tracking. We're going to have carve out some time at the end also for questions. And then we'll draw the winner. And Logan, stay tuned. So thank you so much for coming on. And we look forward to looking into what you guys do and learning more about you all.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany. And thank you guys. We're excited, hopefully, to chat with you all soon and just enjoy your session today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, guys. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. I have been dying to talk to her for years now. Actually, I heard about Ashley when I first got licensed. People would say, this is the girl to watch right here. So, and I have from a distance. And today I am so excited to for all of us to take a deep dive into Ashley's business. And I just want to introduce Ashley Wilson DeWeese from Wilson Realty Group. Ashley, hey, how's it going?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, we are so excited to have you. And Ashley has been 30 Under 30 from Realtors Magazine, 40 Under 40 from named by TBJ, the Triangle Business Journal. What I love about your story is you turned like from sixth grade math and science to like this superstar agent. So I cannot wait to hear about that. Tell us about yourself and how you got started in real estate.
Yeah. So I came to Raleigh in 1998, went to Meredith with the intention of being a teacher forever. Was teaching sixth grade science and math in Chapel Hill, and a guy that I had nannied for in college gave me $400 and said, "This is going to be the best $400 you've ever spent. Go get your real estate license." At the time, I was not interested at all. I ended up getting my license and working part-time on site. So it was when Wakefield was booming and, Highcroft was booming. So I was the relief agent on site while I was teaching. And then resigned from teaching, went into real estate. I initially went into new home sales. So I was out in Heritage Wake Forest for about 4 years. Was the #1 new home sales agent in the Triangle, and then decided at a really good time, I think I was naive and it worked in my favor, but decided the end of 2008 to go out on my own and start a company. And I really launched Ashley Wilson Realty Group May of 2009, and it's been an awesome ride since then. So,
oh, that's great. Now, when you first started your realty group, did you gain success right away, or was it something, especially during that time, was it something you just had to work up to? How was that getting started in general brokerage for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's been a constant fail forward. I think really early in the game, I realized where my strengths were, and I actually love running the company and building the company. I love working with clients. I just think my strengths lie more in really being a CEO than a real estate agent. So very quickly, I began actually building a company. So laying foundations for, operationally what that would look like. And then I actually hired Matt Perry as my first buyer agent in July of 2009. And I had one assistant at that time, and then hired a few others, Angie Cole being one of them, and just started building from there. And yeah. So they both outgrew me, which is a good thing. That's what you do. You want to hire talent and train them and grow them to either, continue to provide opportunity for them, or, for them to go do their own thing. So I would say, kind of from the beginning, I knew that I wanted to build more of a company. I just wasn't wired to be a single agent. I think there's a place in our industry for both. But I think the teacher in me just loves like training and growing other people. So that's kind of how it got rolling.
Well, the people you've influenced certainly speaks to your leadership and where they are today. My gosh, that's amazing. And let's unpack that for a minute, because I feel like a lot of real estate agents, and really any entrepreneur, you feel like you've got to be really good at every single seat on the bus. The closing manager, the sales manager, the back end stuff. And for you mentioned that you just figured out what you really love to do and were really good at, and you built your company around that. I think that's so important. Someone told me to read a book recently called Rocket Fuel, and it kind of speaks to what you're talking about. Really liked that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there, it all depends on who you are. I mean, I tell everybody, like, are you a CEO or are you a realtor and a salesperson? And like, truly, where are your passions? Because if you grow beyond a certain point, you do have to assume the role of CEO way more than you do, the real estate broker and consultant. So yeah, I mean, I think of it like a doctor's office. When you walk in, the doctor's not checking you in, right? Like, you've got the receptionist, the nurse, the doctor, everybody has their roles, and hopefully they're passionate about their roles. So that's just kind of how we built our company. And we truly believe in more of like horizontal, leadership and form of the company. Like, there's not a hierarchy of people. We're all just spokes on a wheel, and the titles are what they are. But at the end of the day, it's about, owning your role and loving your role and really working to achieve mastery in your role so that we're all better together.
Yeah, that's great. And how do you, like, with your team, first of all, tell me about the positions that you have, the people that are on your team.
Yeah, so it's changed over time. I mean, what I tell everybody is it looks really awesome, on stage, from social media or Instagram, but behind the curtain, it's really messy. And I think anyone who runs a big enough company that's vulnerable enough will admit the same. Like, it is truly messy behind the curtain. So what we have currently is a little bit different than what we've had at different times in the past. My team, I was actually out of production for a little over 2 years. And at the end of 2018, I lost 16 people in 7 months. So kind of blew up. So there was a lot going on. I, got engaged, my team blew up, and it was really a point where I was like, am I going to keep doing this, or am I just going to go be a single agent? And, when I got over the shock of what had happened, I realized, again, where my passion was, and we rebuilt. So 2019 and 20 have been truly rebuilding years for us. So I'm actually currently back in production. I'll be out again by June. So I really set the vision of the company and the CEO, and ultimately the goal is for me to stay out of production, be out of production, so I can coach and train the agents. And then on the operations side, we have a director of operations who really runs our, she manages and leads all of our staff. We have, my husband is making faces behind me right now, trying to be funny. So our director of ops also leads and manages our closing department and our listing department, and also our field manager who puts out signs and does that kind of thing. And then on the sales side, most of our agents specialize. There are some agents on the team that do both sides of the business now. We've kind of grown into more of a hybrid role. So we've got some listing specialists, some buyer specialists, and then some brokers that handle both sides. So I mean, it's a pretty typical team setup. I would just say that if you are building a company or a team, like, you just have to know that you really have to roll with the punches. Like, the positions that you have today, or the position that you're in on the team today, may not be the same, next week, depending on, the market and who leaves and who stays, because there's always people coming and going. So it is constantly changing, but as a whole, that's kind of the nutshell of how we roll.
That's amazing. And thank you for sharing with us. And I think it is so important to be vulnerable in business, because that's really how you get to the next level. And I think any successful entrepreneur that I know anyway has had to rebuild several times before achieving, like, even beyond the best success that they've ever had. So kudos to you. Difficult. I look at your strength and, like, the tenacity that you have, or what I see. And one of the things I've always noticed about you, just from, like, obviously behind the window, is you are very, like, disciplined and consistent. And I feel like you show up and you do the things you need to do. How did you adapt that personality?
Yeah, so Talent's Overrated is a book I read years ago. And I say this often, so if you've heard me speak before, you've definitely heard me say this. And I wholeheartedly believe that time on task beats talent every time. And so when I started in the business, I didn't know anything. I clearly wasn't good, and I'm really not that good right now. It's just I am consistent, and I know what my time on task each day should look like. And it's hard to hijack my schedule. Like, it's hard to I know what the week looks like, what the day looks like, and I really live around a time block. And it's freedom, really. Like, this business can consume you, and the business can run into your personal life, and the lines can get real blurry. So I think just really, really understanding that time on task will beat talent, and it's the key to success, and just making sure that you control your schedule, because somebody's going to control it, right? It's either us or the client or the coworker. Like, somebody's going to control the schedule. So I think just clarity and what you want that to look like. And it truly is freeing.
Absolutely. I'm going to get that book today. Talent is overrated. And we'll make sure we'll type that into the comments as well. Now, in terms of like your daily rituals, like when you get up in the morning, do you have like a meditation? Like walk us through like how you get ready for your day.
Yeah, I'm definitely an early bird. I go to bed pretty early. I mean, I'm out by 10 during the week, for sure. Typically I'm up like 4:45, 5, sometimes 5:30ish. I typically do a cardio workout in the mornings, do, what I'm grateful for, get my mind right. Typically we'll do a Facebook post or two to kind of get things going. And then I am either, at my home office or in, my office at home. I'll check a few emails typically before I get ready and head out the door. But I'm typically up and rolling, getting through email and getting all the housekeeping stuff out of the way by 8:15. I like to start that, 7:30, so that then in the morning I can do my lead gen. I do coaching with the agents during that time. I do outreach to, our realtor referrals during that time. Typically we'll do like exec meetings or any sphere of influence meetings that I have. I'll do somewhere between like 11 and 1. And then if right now I'm back in listing appointments so I'll do those at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock Monday through Thursday is the goal. I'll do a 10 a.m. on Friday mornings if I have to. But I mean, I really do stick to that so that then I finish up my listing appointments and then I regroup back with any offers, any agent communication that I need to do, any email. So then I'm kind of working back on the business at the end of the day. But I mean, I definitely stick to my schedule, and I get the lead gen done first and then sandwich the appointments in the middle and then close out the day so that I can feel not so frantic, right? Like when you want a little downtime, you don't feel like you have 588 emails. I'm definitely the one that, my inbox has 4 or 5 emails, everything's filed and organized. Like I like things orderly. And I think just attacking the day with a plan helps. I'll stop sometimes at the end of the day and feel like I've been a firefighter all day, right? Just putting out fires, not following my plan. And then I'll regroup and remember that the goal is to be an architect and stick to that schedule, have a plan and stick to it. And you feel much better at the end of the day. So that's pretty much how it goes. But you are right. Like I'm very predictable and very scheduled. Like my agents know, I mean, it's how my life is.
And I think that's such a huge contributor to the success that you've had too, is being able to stay on task. And I think one of the missing pieces from a lot of people's business is the lead gen part. You get busy being busy, but not coming back to the one thing that is going to like fuel your business beyond the people that are ready today. And that is so important. And speaking of that, and listings, what are your thoughts around shortage of inventory? How are you guys dealing with that?
I mean, I had a conversation yesterday with Brian Pate and a few others. I mean, I think right now the game is changing like it never has before. I think the rate in which inventory continues to go down is a bit, scary, right? It's definitely new territory for all of us. So the days of getting a buyer and doing an MLS search are over. I think it's the strategy of how do we get the off-market homes and how do we get more sellers to sell? So, our lead gens change some depending on like where we are, like what I personally do, where we are in the business. Like we have a machine that's pretty automated, but 65% of our business is still repeat and referral, database driven. And then 16% of it is actually realtor referral. So still a version of database driven. So I think at the end of the day, right now, more than ever, it's getting back to your database, and really just making sure that you're having enough conversations every day about real estate that you get your unfair share, because that's exactly what it's going to be. We've got to make sure we're strategic on the buy side and then really lead generating hard on the list side so that we have houses to sell and can meet our goals. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that inventory levels are going to change too drastically. I think there's some word of some builders delaying starts and things like that right now that I think it's going to impact inventory even more. So I think we're going to see even lower levels, which is insane. And I think it's just a game changer, right? There's still people that'll sell homes. It's just you got to do things a little differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you guys like really going deep into like mailers or doing anything more strategic or hyper local to get more listings? Anything you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, again, it's database. Past clients, we definitely do a lot of texting, calling to past clients. We cut all of our direct mail and print ad when COVID started. So we actually have shifted all of that to more. We do some paid advertising on social media. We even cut a lot of our pay-per-click and have redirected it to social media. But we don't buy, like we don't do Realtor.com, Zillow. We don't buy any of those leads. It just hasn't been in our budget. So I mean, I think the name of the game right now is whoever you're lead generating to, it's a numbers game, right? Like I think it's how many at bats can you get every day, and then hopefully you'll get how many listings you need to meet your goal.
Absolutely. That is the name of the game, 100%. So going back to like business planning, tell us about like how you forecast your year. Like what do you look at when you're planning the year, and what tool do you use? I saw something recently where someone had a business plan, and I was like, man, that's really cool. And I saw you were like, oh yeah, that's fine. So tell us about what you look at when you're doing that.
Yeah, so I'm all about, getting your goals written down. We actually track appointments, and I think every realtor should do this. We track appointments from November to October. And the reason we do that is the appointments that you have in November and December and the agencies and listings taken that you take in November and December typically won't close until January. So if you start tracking appointments 2 months early, you have plenty of closings in January and February. So then we actually track, our closings and our actual, GCI and volume January to December, like a normal person. So we always do goal setting in October. It's a combination of just sheer how much do you want to make, breaking it down into how many appointments you need, how many agencies or listings taken you need, how many under contracts you need. We break it down per year, per month, per week, so that every agent on the team knows I need this many agencies this week to meet my goal. So part of it is numbers oriented, and then part of it is so I always say, like, all of us work to pay some bills, right? We all have just needs that have to be met: shelter, food, those type things. And really the purpose of having a business and working is to fund a perfect life. So we always do a sheet that literally breaks down, what do you want your life to look like? Like, what are the top 5 vacations you want to take this year? What are the top 5 things you want to purchase? What are you most proud of from the year before? Like, what are the top 5 things you want to change going into this year? Just things like that. And I think that was the sheet that you saw. And I mean, I think if we get so just stuck on numbers, then we forget to actually fund that life, that we're working for. So we do that sheet. And then after we do that, we actually do that sheet first, then do the numbers, and then we do vision boards. So we do that all as a group in October over a certain amount of weeks. I used to do it all in one day. And I find that staggering it over about a 3-week period where we do one part each week actually has worked better, because it almost lets everybody set part of their goals, digest it, adjust, and then by the end of the 3 weeks, they're armed and dangerous and can hit the ground running. So I would say if you're not setting your goals in October, back it up, because if you're setting them in January, you're really only tracking for 9 months of closings, unless you get those, the quick clients, which right now I think are more so than in a normal market. So
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great. And I would love to see what that business plan looks like. It was so intriguing to me
Yeah.
when I saw it on social media. So now, okay, so you've established the goal, the team's ready to do this, and then you get to like quarter two where, people can potentially start to lose momentum, motivation. How do you keep people motivated, your team, and on track to meet these ambitious goals?
Yeah, so I've set team goals two different ways. How I do it now is I dig in deep on what everybody's individual goal is first. Then I add all of that up so that they're giving me a real number, see where I end up, and then I backfill it into the team goal. So I fill that gap initially with people, right? Because if I have 5 people and their numbers add up to 100 sales and I want to do 200, I've got to hire more people to get there. Or lift their financial thermostats to where the people currently on the team want to make more money. So the first thing I do is make sure we have enough people to meet the team goal that we need. And then, our accountability is really just bringing them back to their personal goals, which is why I dig so deep on like, why do they want to make $100,000? So, we'll revisit. So how are you going to pay for the Disney cruise if you're not hitting the goals, right? So it's fueling their why and then digging down to what activities can they change daily to make sure that they are on goal. So all the agents on the team get a text message from me on Monday mornings. That text is either you're on goal, you're doing great, or it's okay, you've had 2 appointments, you were supposed to have 4. What are we going to change so that you're caught up by next week? So that comes in a text message on Mondays. Then on Tuesdays, we do team meeting and like a coaching session together, where there's always something that they can implement into their business. And then once a month, they actually have a coaching call with me, where it's one-on-one, and truly I have all of their goals out in front of me and we go through and I'm like, okay, you wanted to renovate your living room. Did you do it? If they didn't, we talk about why they didn't do it. And I have the agents put dates on anything they write on the paper. We attach a date to it. So if it's take a trip, it's when do you want to take it? If it's, buy my husband a car, how much do you want to spend and when do you want to do it by? So really quantifying things so that we're all on the same page. So there's definitely check-ins along the way. And I used to be very numbers driven, like, okay, it's this many sales, this many appointments. And then I realized like, it's got to be about the person, right? So just digging deep into what the individual's goals are. And I think when you do that, they meet their goals. Like you don't have the issue.
Yeah. That's so brilliant. You're right. And who's gonna get upset about, oh, you said you wanted to go on this Disney cruise and you're not missing goal, or you're not meeting goals. So what's going on there? I think people not having or understanding what their why is truly what gets in the way. So I love that tactic. I think it absolutely brings in the numbers aspect, but also the human aspect of your personal life, because it all does really go together. I think that's great. I want to do it myself. I want to do the little, business.
I'll send it to you. I also think it's just being real with yourself, right? Because we're all on a journey. So your journey might be right now you're paying off credit card debt and student loans, which there's nothing glamorous about that. So, your vision board might not be that glamorous right now. And the path to get to, that perfect life is making sure that you're real enough when you need to do the things that aren't as glamorous, right? That you get those done. And so, I have agents who will redo their goals after we get down and dirty. And they're like, okay, I don't want to take these vacations. I want to pay off, all these bills. And so then we just kind of redirect, what their why is that year. Why do they want to pay off those bills? And so I think part of it's just being real with ourselves. Like we all want, the glitz and glam. And at the same time, like the journey there, it is often rough, right? Like there's things we've got to get down and dirty with before. So
absolutely, 100%. The hero's journey, or something. There was a book or something that talked about that, and that's very, very true. With the agents that you have now, what advice would you give to other, leaders or CEOs in their companies to help? Like, obviously we've talked about the business planning piece, but also like advice to help them stay in lead generation. We talked about the database aspect. Do you assign like, you need to call 10 people a day, or how hyper focused you get around what they need to do?
Yeah, I've done it every which way. I'll tell you what works the best with folks on our team is sticking to a 5-5-5-5 initially. And when they master that, we bump it up to tens. And what that is, 5 phone calls or conversations about real estate, verbal conversations, 5 emails, 5 texts, 5 social media interactions every day. They can be follow-up, phone calls. They can be new conversations. I try to get them to separate follow-up and new biz, but a lot of the agents, get bogged down in some of the follow-up. So we stick to the 5-5-5-5, and then once they master that, we'll bump it up to 7 and then bump it up to 10. We also do, a 4-day-a-week goal. So then you've got 1 day of grace, where if you mess up on Wednesday, you can make it up on Friday and then still, have your Saturday, Sunday to not lead gen. And I think over time, the consistency of doing that, you'll be just fine. It used to be 20 contacts a day. And then I think the 5-5-5-5, it is easier for most people to stomach. And then they create that habit. So we've just really simplified it over the years. I mean, I've done a certain number of hours, a certain number of contacts, and this seems to work best.
So 5 calls, 5 emails, 5 text messages, 5 social media interactions.
Yeah, and so that the social media interactions don't necessarily include like your post, but like interactions with clients or friends that, it's a reminder that you're in real estate, but not saying, hey, I'm in real estate, send me business, right? So just loving on your people, commenting on their post, sending private messages, offering, vendor services, things like that. So yes, it's as simple as that. It's just making sure you're strategic in those contacts.
Oh, I love that. That is great. And it like going back to past clients, obviously with COVID, things have changed quite a bit, I'm sure, for you guys this year, but what are you doing to make sure you do stay in touch with clients? Have you guys hosted a something recent, or maybe back a couple of months ago, it was a cooking class, if I'm not mistaken, or something online? What have you guys been up to?
Yeah, so because we are so database driven, like we did events all the time. I mean, a lot of what we did with our sphere of influence. So when this happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like what's this going to look like? So we just have taken everything virtually. We did a virtual cooking class. We did do many photo sessions for families, but they had to actually sign up for time so that it was COVID friendly. Our pie pickup was like it was a drive-through. We've done a lot of pot buys where we're just, like we're getting ready to do for Valentine's Day, we're doing cocoa bombs for, like 80 of our families. So we really have just shifted to be virtual. We did some giveaways where, this is a great one. If you want people to actually call you can do a giveaway we did a Dyson hairdryer for Mother's Day. And we said, if you call us on this day, we did, if you're the 100th caller, you win it. I wouldn't do it that way again, because then everybody's trying to be the 100th caller. If you have them call in and if they do a review, maybe they get 1 entry. If they give you a referral, maybe they get 10 entries. And as people call in, they get entered to win. So that actually reverses, you kind of flip the script and have them call you, and then you're not having to make outgoing calls. So we've just gotten, as creative as we can be virtual. And I think it just changes every day. It's different, that's for sure.
Oh, that's great. And you guys are just keeping up with obviously how things have changed and adapted since, February of this year or last year. And you're still kicking butt. I see you guys on social media rocking it out, and it's inspiring. It really is. So what if you had to pinpoint 1 or 3 books, and we talked about talent is overrated. Are there any other books that you go to every year, or in books that have really helped you become the CEO that you are? Anything specific?
Yeah, so I've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent 12 times. So it truly is like how just the basis of how the company is built. E-Myth Revisited is another great book that when I first read that book, it kind of triggered why you need, operations manuals and training manuals and things like that, all of which now we've taken to virtual. So that's a good one. Fierce Conversations is another good one. I think, we are in the business of really, appropriately and effectively communicating with others, whether it's, the people on our team or our clients. And that book's a good one. I would say those are a good place to start. I think for most people, they want to go from reading 0 books to they're like, I'm going to read 2 a month. And I'm like, no, you're not. Start with a few, a few, and really implement from those books. So like when I read a book, throughout reading it, like The Compound Effect's another good one. Like, what are you going to take from the book and implement? And typically it's not 5 or 6 things. Like if you can implement one thing, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
so, like E-Myth, for example, I mentioned the operations manuals. I think for whether you're a single agent or you have a company, I think it's key. And there's a program called Loom. If you've never heard of it, it's actually an extension that you put on your Gmail or on Google. And let's just say an agent asks you, how do you do an MLS search? Well, rather than show them, you literally click on the Loom extension and a little recording comes up. Your face is in the corner, but you can share your screen and literally show them how you pull comps or show them how you enter someone in your CRM. So if you begin documenting, every time somebody asks me a question now, I make a Loom video. Not because I'm not going to answer their question, but I'll get the question again. So then you create a training library for your company. And if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, like there's a library in a Google Drive that's videos that people can pick up where you left off. So E-Myth, if you read E-Myth Revisited, it touches on like Ritz-Carlton and how, it's all on an ops manual. It's like Chick-fil-A. Like it's not a coincidence. They all run very similarly. So I think you want to be able to recreate the experience for all your clients. So that's a good resource if you haven't started your ops manuals yet.
That's great. We were actually starting, was it Venmo or something like that? But I'm going to look into this, or Venmo or not Venmo. I get them confused with the cash thing, but the Loom. So thank you. Yeah. And Alyssa, will you post that also in the comments? Any other technology or, extensions like that you use in your business to stay organized?
Oh gosh. There's a lot of different things. I would say like we definitely use Google Drive for, like we have a closing drive, we have a listing drive, we have a management drive, we have a main drive, and just really getting organized in, when a client closes, we label all the folders the same. So like I can go find somebody from 2015. So I think just foundationally making sure that you're somewhat organized makes a big difference. Like whether you're 1 or 200 people. But I'd say the latest thing that has been life-changing for us has been that Loom, like just creating those videos, because it makes it easier for the person too, right? Because if you have a slow learner, they can watch it 5 times and not have to ask you 5 times. So it takes that whole embarrassment factor out of it. Somebody asked Alyssa said, how do I handle prospect client appointments when they can't meet during daytime hours? So I believe that everybody just wants a choice, right? And I also think with COVID, it's become much more flexible when people can meet with you. So now if Tiffany was talking to me about listing her home, I would either email her back or on the phone say, great, can't wait to meet with you. Do you prefer meeting virtually or in person? And then regardless of what she says, my appointment times really don't change that much. And I'll then give 3 options. So I'll finagle it a little bit. Like I might do 12:30 on one, 1 o'clock on one, 2 o'clock on one, but different days. Like I just sent one out right before this meeting and I'm like February 1st at 1, February 2nd at 2, or February 3rd at 1. Like you give them 3 choices, and typically when people are given 3 choices, they will pick one. When they're given 2 choices, they actually will come back to you with a 3rd option. So if you're having problems with it, I would recommend giving 3 options for times, and typically they won't balk. Because you're also giving them such a variety of choices, like they don't want to feel like a jerk and be like, well, I can't meet any of those times. So just give them the options rather than say, when do you want to meet?
That's great advice. Absolutely. And that works like a charm. I mean, a lot of people, if they have I've heard with agents before in the past, oh, I have a soccer game, so I can't go. Well, that time is blocked. And just as you said, I have an appointment, but how does 4 o'clock work, or whatever the case may be? That is so true. Do we have any other questions, guys? Please feel free to type right now in the chat. We've got a few minutes left. And if you have any questions for Ashley, we'd love to take advantage of her while we have her here with us. So please make sure that you're typing those questions in the chat box here, and Alyssa will translate that over here to the Zoom chat. So as far as your CRM goes, what do you guys use? What's been good for you?
Well, they don't let me in the CRM very often anymore. We actually use Boomtown, and then we use KW Command kind of alongside each other. But Boomtown is our main CRM. But for years, we just used the KW CRM. I think we complicate the whole CRM, topic. I think it's whatever CRM, just use it, right? And I also think you've got to shift with the times. 3 years ago, email was pretty effective, and so was a phone call. And I think now text message goes a long way, and it used to seem impersonal. So you just have to constantly be shifting your method of communication. But yeah, we use
Zoomtown. That's a great platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as reviews, I'm really interested in this. When after you go through a transaction, where do you ask the client to review you at?
So it's changed over time. We are focusing now, and have been for the past year, on Google reviews, just because we feel like it's kind of the platform that gets everybody. If they're going to go to a different site, typically they'll go to a Google search and put it in there. So we're focused on Google reviews right now. And I think, just as it is for everybody, I mean, it's a challenge to get them. So I think it's just asking throughout the process has been key for us. Asking at the high points, not necessarily after the transaction when they're moving in. And then I also say to my agents, think about, you've got to give what you want to get. So when a company asks you to give a review, do you do it? Right? Are you reviewing the companies that you frequent locally? And then if you are reviewing them, would they review you right back? So I think sometimes we want reviews, but yet, when the Lexus dealership emails you for a review, you delete the email, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's just giving more of what we want to see, but Google's where we're focused right now.
Absolutely. And, when we were talking about keeping your team motivated, one of the things I'm curious about as Alyssa's getting some of these questions together, what keeps you motivated? And obviously you've got that why sheet, but are there days where you just don't feel like calling or lead generating, and you're just not into it? And if so, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely days where I think the monotony of what you do gets old. So, I think that's the difference in good and great and super successful and just, mediocre is, discipline is doing it when you don't feel like doing it. We all have motivation on random days, but discipline is truly implementing and executing when you do not want to. So I think in order to call yourself a disciplined person, on the worst day, still pushing through and getting it done. So yeah, I mean, everybody has those days where it's just why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to anybody. And you just have to push through with a game face on, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Put on those big boots and take it and go. So we have another question here. For your 555 contacts, would you only count 5 phone calls successful when you speak live with someone, or does voicemail count? Or would you keep making calls until you reach 5 people live?
So I get this question a lot. I think that if you are strategic about, we all go to the gas station, to Starbucks, to the gym, to our kids' daycare. So they can be phone calls, and they can also just be being intentional when you're in the grocery store line, when you're in the Starbucks line. So, I think that's a call you have to make. I think you've got to have 5 conversations in order to make measurable progress. So I would only count the actual conversations, and 4 days a week isn't that much, right? So yeah, I would definitely have 5 conversations.
And you're so right. It's just not that much, but it adds up when you look at it from even a 30-day perspective. I mean, something that could take you, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to make 5 calls, if that. So, yeah, no, absolutely. We've got another question here. Winner. Oh, okay. Well, we do have a winner of the giveaway, so we will come right back to that when we wrap up. But is there anything else, Ashley, that we haven't covered that you'd like to share with us today? We just are so excited that you took the time to hang out and be part of YPN.
Yeah, thanks again. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to talent and systems. So whether you're, a single agent, or you're building a huge team, you've really got to evaluate, like, do I have the systems and foundation to build a strong business? And then what people do I need to align with? Because even as individual agents, like, you need vendors and partners. And when things aren't working and things get hard and things blow up, I always evaluate those 2 things. Like, it's either a systems problem or a people problem. And then you've just got to quickly execute. So I'd say just focus on your time on task. And it truly is, it's slow. It's slow to, everybody thinks, well, so-and-so had success overnight. And what they don't see is the compound effect of the little things that person did every day to get to where they are. So I would just say stay the course. You're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face. Things are going to blow up. There are going to be days you hate it. And it's all about, how quick you get back up. So
thank you for that. And I think everybody needs to hear that, especially now. And it's so true. It's with any business. Failing is not a bad thing. It's something that pushes you forward. And thank you so much for sharing that and giving us an insight to your business and all of the things that you do to stay organized. And I think systems is something that I know, me personally, I could definitely get better at. And I think everybody had a tangible takeaway from this. So we really appreciate you taking time to be with us.
Yeah, anytime. I'll send you over the goal sheet. And if anybody else needs anything else, let me know.
Absolutely. We'll post it, guys. We'll post it in the YPN group that we're in right now. We'll make sure we post that. So, well, Ashley, thank you so much. Let's announce the winner. And then unless anybody has any questions, we're good to go. The winner of the 1-hour giveaway with Mass Mutual is Kathy Perazzo. Kathy, hey Kathy, haven't seen you in forever. Congratulations, you win the 1-hour session with Matt at Mass Mutual. And I hope you guys really got a lot out of today. I know I did. I've been taking notes like crazy. So Ashley, again, really appreciate the time spent today. And I'm going to reevaluate a lot of different things. And I'm going to put these books on my list to read. And again, we just appreciate you. And if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. And we are huge fans. So again, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.